And welcome back. We're picking up where we left off last time in Strategic Command WWI in the Call to Arms campaign. And the Entente Powers this time. So in most of the case along here, we are dug in, right? Yeah. Why are you not dug in? Let's get you dug in. I think so. Okay, as far as Serbia, do we have afford enough? Don't afford enough to be able to replace the destroyed core, but we can get one of the destroyed detachments back. Let's go ahead and do that. We've got a single hex hole, well, it's supposed to be 2 hex hole in our ideal battle lines right now. And then let's reinforce the damaged cores. And I think that's going to be the Serbian portion of the turn. Nice, simple. I don't think we see any situations where we've got good attacks. 1-2 is tempting, but this is Belgrade. I'd rather make them struggle to take Belgrade than use our offensive power, or use our defensive power up, defending or attacking out of the city. Sweep up like that and sweep back a bit, just to make sure they're not near our supply line. Want to reinforce, or do I want to advance? I think we'll go for the reinforce option. Down here. That used up most of the Russian MPPs, yeah. We'll do recon run on you. We're getting 1-2s everywhere. We're getting pretty close to being able to just crush that guy at that point. So let's start. So there's no trench from that position or that position, so we'll take that one first. Yeah, I was suspecting that someone would be there. There's probably someone there. Trying to see the opportunities here to encircle exposed Russian forces. Well, exposed German forces, I mean. Actually, keep it there, maybe there. Okay, maybe not super optimal, but I think that's going to be functional. We're going to want you at the front quickly, so we're going to operate you forward. Now you, I think we want down at this border, because mountains. Meaning, as long as you're going down the rails, so we can operate you when the time comes, you can slow walk. Someone is, in fact, there. That's what I was trying to see, because if I could cut these guys off, that would be effective. But that does not appear to be the case right now. Okay, so that's the Russian front. Russians got 39 MPP left, so it is not really enough to pick up anything research-wise. So we've done Russia and we've done Serbia. On to the French. You're not quite in recon range to make up for the fact that I have lost the other recon bomber. Okay. Okay, so you almost certainly need to dig in, so we don't lose that hex to the other side. 1 to 5. Ended up getting 1 to 4, or yeah, 1 to 4. 0 to 3 we'll take. And then 0 to 1 we'll definitely take. Then you're in a perfectly reasonable spot. So I'll actually do a swap like that. Have the damage one take the hex. 2 3s are maybe a little tempting. Yeah. Okay, before I forget, let's do this correctly. So we move you there, drop the mine, and then probably do you there. Okay. Okay, so that's more blockade. That should put a lot more pressure on the Central Powers. And the British have got resources to spend. Although this is mainly due to me being very conservative with the British units at the moment. Because I haven't had to be aggressive with them. And when the Ottomans join the war, the British will mainly be fighting the Ottomans. Other than a little bit up here with Belgium. I don't want to handle... So you're both spent. I'm going to put sleep markers on them so I can remember which ones are their spent ones. That didn't quite work the way I wanted it to. I was hoping I'd get vision through the forest using the cav so I could not get assaulted just walking into the hex. Okay, so I've got 2 full strength ones. Only one of them is in range to actually join in on fighting. I'm trying to debate if I want to try taking one of these hexes. I think I'm going to need 4, if not 5 attacks. I don't got the forces, so we're not going to do that. Okay. Okay. So we don't get enough of the French to learn how to dig. Or to not dig. Infantry weapon, artillery weapon. I could go for more digging. That's actually an option. I think that's probably the option I'm going to take. Yeah, let's get the digging going a little faster for the French. The British actually got some choices. We're going to need functional artillery at some point. So we're going to pick up artillery. There's 125. I already have amphibious war as the British, so I've already got some capacity for amphibious transporting. I suppose we'll go ahead and take another trench warfare. You can invest more than that, but we're up to what we can with our current MPP. Russians can't invest anything. Serbians... Did we already reinforce everything as the Serbians? Yeah. Oh, no, not the HQ. It's, can't afford to reinforce the HQ, can I? Either I moved it or I don't have enough to do a reinforce there. Okay. Next turn, the Americans will have enough to pick up industry, start developing industry tech 1. And the Italians aren't far enough into the joining the war to do anything. I suppose from a law standpoint, we're only 2 turns in, and we're doing a better job at not, like, disproportionately losing forces as the Entente. Only 40% of the losses, or only 60% of the losses of ours. And that's counting detachments as equivalent to corps, which is not really the case. National morale, 99, 98, 98. Still at 100% for the Russians, that's good. Germans are down to 100% now. 96% for you, and you haven't entered the war. Let's cycle the turn. Loss of grains from Galicia leads to hunger in Austria-Hungary. So that's what the oil field, I believe, is representing in-game, is farmland, not actual oil. The UK adds the Agincourt Dreadnought to her fleet. Russian mobilization continues. Rough seas. 8 naval units north of Scotland block imports to Germany and in the North Sea. Fear of German raiders upset trade from the British Empire. We got progress on heavy bombers. Not too worried about. Progress on trench warfare. We do like that. 182 for the British, 198 for the French, 92 for Serbia, 287 for Russia, and 14 for the US of A. So the US of A will start being able to progress on that industry tech. We are getting traded through the Dardanelles, which we will lose, of course, when the Ottoman Empire joins the war. Oh, the Germans are responding. There come the Germans. Probably throwing all the reserves over from the Western Front. Lost the cavalry corps. Yeah, I was kind of expecting that. Okay, not too concerning. And that's the end of their movement. Loss of grain leads to hunger in Austria-Hungary. And the grain at this point is pretty securely behind our alliance. Prince Wilhelm flees Albania as civil war breaks out. Albania prepares for war. And the Entente naval blockade. Chief of Staff Helmuth von Moltke resigns due to ill health. Erich von Falkenheim replaces von Moltke as Chief of Staff. Second Cavalry Corps destroyed, although that was the only one lost. First Lord of the Admiralty, Winston Churchill. The Royal Navy would like to requisition some cross-channel steamers to convert them into seaplane carriers. This would cost us 100 MPPs, at the cost of 50 MPP a turn for 2 turns. I haven't spent the time to figure out how to actually use these properly, but we're going to want seaplane carriers for reconnaissance anyway, so we will agree to that. The 5th and the 6th GDR Corps for France are deploying. We can deploy them basically wherever we want in France. North or south. Deploy one there, and the 6th we're going to deploy down south. And a Russian Corps obviously wants to get deployed reasonably far forward. We'll put it there. That's our deployment. So, Serbian positions. I don't think we're going to get any really good attacks off on the Austro-Hungarians. Although the 2-3 is a little tempting. Might take the 2-3. I'd take the 1-2 if it wasn't against a detachment. Yeah, we'll take the 2-3. Got a 4 for 2. Oh, that was a good trade. Okay, healing on you, make you more effective. And then we're going to put the rest of you into trench. Learn how to dig those trenches. Sufficient. Oh, you're more expensive. Wait. I got 14. I'm miscounting. We spent so much on the HQ. The HQ was expensive. Okay. That's Serbia. Serbia's a nice short front. Make sure that place is still clear, and it is. At some point, we'll want to hunt down the Serbian fleet and get it, or the Austro-Hungarian fleet and send it to the bottom, but that day is not today. Okay, I think we're going to do basically a shimmy towards the Austro-Hungarians here. You're dug in, you're dug in. You can dig in, so dig in. You probably want to reinforce. Let's get there. Move you forward and dig you in as well. You can attack. I don't think I want to take that attack right now. And I don't want to move into the marsh. We've got quite a few Germans have come out of the woodworks here. Okay, we're going to trade some terrain for better defensive deployments. One to 3 is tempting, but I'd rather be dug in properly. Okay, you're dug in. You're not dug in, but you can't. That was the garrison. That was the wrong move. Yeah, I can work with that. Wasn't what I wanted to move. I meant to move the plane. Misclicked. Yeah, it's not too much concerning. I was planning on trying to get the garrison out of that hex eventually. Just, that was a little sooner than I had planned. Just a little sooner than I had planned. Okay, I'm gonna operate you. Not too worried about them getting to Riga. Let's make sure we hold that fortress there. And then you're still marching down that rills, because we don't need you where you are going to go until the war breaks out. Do I want those extra cores because of the impending deployment of a bunch of Germans? Yeah, I think it's time. We need to pull these cores. Okay, so that's the Russian front. I actually got a lot of MPP as the Russians right now, so we can pick up some decent techs. So we're going to want infantry weapons, we're going to want artillery weapons. We'll get those parts started. And then the French. 2-3 is tempting. Yeah, we definitely got a couple places where we're gonna attack. Oops, I should stay there. Oh, I probably should have done this with the infantry rather than the cavalry, but it'll work. Okay, taking that hex. Oh, I could pull you... I suppose doing that I should do this. Get the trench turned around. There we go. We'll move you so you've got a retreat hex if you do get pounded. You're pretty badly damaged, but you're in a place where I can recover you if the Germans attack heavily. These guys don't need to be on sleep anymore. Oops. Shoot up there to serve as a reserve. Shoot down there to serve as a reserve. Well, you a little bit further back so that got more space for retreats if we need to retreat. There we go. Not a bad turn on the Western Front. If anything, we're actually driving the Germans back, which is interesting. I do have more British troops I can bring across, but I don't need to bring them across right now, so we're going to leave them in England. Or at least reinforce them up, as I just did. Bring you around to the scap flow. Okay, so I think I've done all the replacements I can do in the French army right now. Because they've moved. It's kind of what's going on. And we did the recon run with you, yeah. I could repair some of the French boats. I don't think we need to right now. I think we need to do research. So the British. We've already got artillery underway. We're going to want infantry as well. Please start infantry. That leaves us with 40. Is there anything we want to pick up for 40? We could pick up fighter development. I think that's a no, though. The French are probably also going to want artillery. So we'll start artillery on the French. The French can afford another trench warfare, so let's do that. Italians aren't in, Serbians are in, but we can't spend anything more on them, can't spend any more on them, and the Americans have enough for industry tech. Okay. And with that, let's cycle the turn. I think we're definitely winning the race to the sea. The Belgians will hold on to a little bit more than a sliver of Belgium going forward, which is good. And then we haven't lost Belgrade for Serbia, so I think in a lot of places we're doing well, although we are seeing the Germans. They are coming on the Eastern Front. They've realized they're not making gains on the Western Front, so east they go. Loss of grain leads to hunger in Austria-Hungary. First Lord of the Admiralty, Winston Churchill. Given the serious situation facing us on the continent, we could use surplus men from the Royal Navy to form a Royal Navy division to help us slow down the German advance. In no way will this unit be good in combat as a regular infantry or regular army, but it may be able to play a role yet. Forming the Royal Navy division will cost 50 MPP, and upon its formation, it will deploy in London. This is a detachment of Royal Marines. We will say yes for 50 MPP. Again, Royal Navy division forms. It is a budget unit deployment, so we're going to take it. Commander-in-Chief of the Grand Duke Nicholas. Our 2nd and 3rd Caucasian Corps are available for transfer from Caucasus to Brest-Litovsk, where they could be sent to action against the German, Austrian, and Hungarian forces. Yes, if you decide not to transfer the 2nd and 3rd Caucasian forces, they will now complete their mobilization and deploy in the Caucasus at Alexandropol and Tiflis, respectively. Deploying these two corps will cost us 50 MPP. If you decide to transfer these units to Brest-Litovsk, our border with the Caucasus will still be guarded by a detachment of Batum, 1st Caucasus Corps and Sakhmish, and the 2nd Turkestan Corps and Kars. These units will all automatically be deploying under the command of General Nikolai Yudenich at the outbreak of war with the Ottomans. I'm going to actually say no. I think we got enough forces in the west that if I need to deploy these ones, I can pay the MPP cost to rail them over. So I'm going to actually say no. That explains where the mountain corps I saw in the other game came from on the eastern front. Entente naval forces north of Scotland blockade imports to Germany. Entente naval units blockade imports to Germany in the North Sea. The Emden shells British oil supplies at Madras in India. 72, so we're not getting very much for the UK because we're doing too much. 201 for France, 92 for Serbia, 287 for the Russians, and another 14 for USA. Okay, we did lose a corps. Although not much more than that. Yet. Lots of grain from Galicia leads to hunger in Austria-Hungary. Albania joins the Entente. We have more forces in Russia mobilizing. Fighting routes between Kern and Ensign Pasha. Okay. Entente naval units north of Scotland blockade imports to Germany. Entente naval units blockade imports to Germany in the North Sea. The Maurites Rebellion. Boers revolt against the British rule in South Africa. It is raining. Which is, well, it would be bad for us attacking. But in a lot of places we're actually defending, so that's fine. Decision, Commander-in-Chief, General Joffre. Thousands of foreign volunteers have come to France with a burning desire to enlist in our armed forces and to serve our country. It is a cadre of experienced legionnaires from Algeria to transform these enthusiastic idealists into a corps of hardened soldiers. Once their training is complete, this corps will deploy at Marseille. In May 1915, would you like to authorize the formation and training of the Foreign Legion Corps at the cost of 25 MPP for 4 turns? And again, I think that for corps, that's a budget corps, so we'll just accept. 4th Corps, UK. Put that on a port so we can deploy it. Doesn't need reinforcement. Sabak Detachment has reformed as a ready deployment. We'll deploy it there. Baltic Detachment. It has to deploy in basically Helsinki, so we'll basically use it to backfill Helsinki. That's fine. And we got a lot of rain, which is going to interfere with our ability to attack, which is probably fine because I should probably not be attacking. I should probably be focusing on keeping our units in good shape. Looks like Serbia... Serbia would have enough to deploy a detachment. We'd rather want to replace the core that's missing. May hold off a bit. Or do we want to speed up their digging? Let's speed up the digging. Yeah, I don't think we're going to attack the Russians because it'd be raining. It be raining. Although I got 2 more cores coming in. I should oh, I can't do both of them. I gotta walk one of them. Okay, I'm gonna take slightly more aggressive posturing in the pocket here. Well, in the salient, in the Polish salient. Can I get you to cross the river and dig in? Yeah. Okay. So that's the Russian front. Looks to be going pretty well. We now have a cohesive front line from one end to the other. We do a 3-3. I don't think that's a good trade. We're going to dig in instead. Although it's a tempting trade. Okay, we're going to pull the cav back. Push the infantry up to take its spot. Okay, so France has got 35 MPP left, so nothing more to do with France. So I want to take cheeky swings. I don't think we got any good ones. At least not where it would require. Like 3-4 is tempting, but I'm gonna resist the urge. We're not going to do aggressive moves in the rain here. Oh, am I really low on MPP for the British as well? Yeah, we didn't give very much last turn, did we? I got probably just enough to get the new British troops on the boat. Get them across. Which I will go ahead and do. In case I need those reinforcements up in the British Belgian sector. which group am I reinforcing you from? Only cost 7. 7 from Russia. Okay. We'll pay 7 from Russia to get you to full strength. Yeah, we'll do a quick glance at the national morale state. 99, 98, so we haven't really lost any there. 98, haven't really lost any there. Russia's back up to 100%, so that's good. Germany's down to 97%. You're down to 94%. So progress is being made, although slow, but this is a... World War I is a bit of a marathon and less of a sprint. Well, unless you're trying to knock France out of the war in like your opening months as the Germans, and then it might be a bit of a sprint. We are going to end this turn, see how the Central Powers handle it. Loss of grain from Galicia leads to hunger in Austria-Hungary. Decision! Prime Minister, Canada and Newfoundland are raising the Canadian Expeditionary Force to serve in Europe, but for the moment the size of this force is quite small and the men require extra training. It is therefore proposed that we ship the Canadian Expeditionary Force to England, where it will be able to complete its training and reach full strength in February, for the cost of 50 MVP. Alternatively, we could send this partially prepared force directly to France, so it can enter straight into action there. Would you approve the shipping of the Canadian force to England to complete its training, or would you rather it be shipped directly to France? Canadians will equip themselves very well on the Western Front, playing a prominent role in many of the key battles there, from the Second Ypres battle through Yimi Ridge, Passchendaele, and Armen, and on to final victory. Newfoundland wasn't part of Canada at the time, and it deployed its own regiment for service in the war, seeing action at Gallipoli, the Somme, and later battles at the Western Front. Saying yes to this means this formation will receive the training it needs to serve well. If you say no, it will arrive in France totally unprepared and will be at great risk of being easily destroyed without further reinforcement. We'll say yes. Although that's going to make England even more strapped for MPP. The seaplane carrier HMS Empress enters service. Entente naval units north of Scotland blockade imports to Germany. Entente naval units blockade imports to Germany in the North Sea. Lieutenant Charles de Gaulle returns to active service after recovering from a wound. K-Brat bread made with potatoes, wheat, and rye is launched in Germany. We got a breakthrough on trench warfare, 75% to level 1. Only 80 MPP for UK and the miners. France collects 186. Serbia and miners get 95. Russia and miners get 301. And the USA gets another 14. Looks like they're going to have clear weather for their attacks, which is not particularly great for us. Subs have hit the convoy line. I think something at one of the mines is probably what I heard. Von Spree defeats the Royal Navy at the Battle of Cornell. Loss of grain from Galicia leads to hunger in Austria-Hungary. The Ottoman Empire prepares for war. France increases its arms production in southwest. Entente naval units north of Scotland blockade imports into Germany. Entente naval units blockade imports into Germany in the North Sea. Figure of German raiders upsets trade from the British Empire. British-Japanese forces capture Tsingtao in China. Let's see if I can pronounce Chinese right. Von Lettenbosch-Rohrbeck defeats the British in German East Africa. This is one of the other scenarios you can play as. It's basically playing as this guy, or the Entente forces trying to stop him. Herbert Hoover organizes the Commission for Relief in Belgium. Secretary of State for War, Lord Kitchener. The Australian and New Zealand Army Corps, Anzac, is now ready to sail for Europe. And a decision needs to be taken as to its destination. The activities of the German Pacific Squadron may impede their progress, but being all well, the Anzac should arrive in Europe in the middle of December. These soldiers are all volunteers who are brimming with enthusiasm for the struggle ahead. Would you like to sail them directly to Bristol in England, or would you rather have them disembark slightly earlier in Egypt? Anzac served first at Gallipoli and then later on the Western Front, while the light horse units played a prominent role in the Middle East, most notably at Beersheba. In 1917, the Anzac were claimed as tough fighters, but they also became renowned for their indiscipline and resistance to traditional military authority, being independently minded and more willing to stick up for themselves than their counterparts in the British Army. Anzac Day is still celebrated annually in Australia, New Zealand, and the men's service has been immortalized in film, especially in the 1985 TV series Anzacs, although also in the 1981 film Gallipoli and the 1987s in The Light Horseman. And I'm going to have them stop over in Egypt. I don't think we need more people in the West, and I think we're going to need more people for dealing with those Ottomans. First Lord of the Admiralty, Winston Churchill. German naval units operating in the Pacific and South Atlantic are affecting our trade and income. Now that Rear Admiral Craddock's squadron has been defeated at Cornell, the calls for action against them have grown louder and more urgent. To ensure a swift resolution of the problem, it is recommended that we send the Invincible battlecruiser to the South Atlantic to deal with Graf von Spree's squadron. Otherwise, she will deploy at Plymouth. Would you like to send the Invincible to the South Atlantic, or deploy her to Plymouth instead? Saying yes sends the Invincible to providing she survives the engagement, she will return to the UK for the service with the Grand Fleet, and there will be no further interference in her trade from the Spree. There is, however, a 50% or 30% chance that she will cripple in the engagement, in which case she will not return to the UK. Even if she does return, she will most certainly need to be prepared. Despite the risk, it is recommended to send the Invincible in order to deal with the threat to our economy, particularly as failing will reduce our national morale by 500 points, whereas defeating the Von Spree will raise it by 500. So we are going to send it. The question is, will it show up later? Really? And we got a battlecruiser we can deploy. Yeah. Move you up to the other port. Oh, you move it and then you can fly the plane. Okay. Learn how to do that. We obviously want to get these destroyers. Try to hammer the sub. We get more destroyers. We get another destroyer. Cool. I don't think I can get you involved. No. Although there's a possibility it may try to pull off in various ways, so we'll do that. Now, the light cruisers can't damage it, but have a pretty decent defense against it. I heard something crash. Apparently nothing hit our mines. The mines still appear to be out there. And that one appears to be there. Okay. Oh, and the seaplane range is not very long. Okay. Good to remember. We know they're mobilizing for war, so stuff is about to happen on that front. It's not happening right now, but it will happen soon. Does Serbia have enough? Serbia. Not quite enough for that core replacement. Only 6 short, so it's tempting to wait till the next turn instead of trying to invest in more stuff. So we're going to replace the core. The other thing we'd spend, I think it's probably just grab the next stretch. I don't think it's going to speed up very much. We'll hold off and try to get the core instead, the replacement core. Russians, you need to heal. And then you need to heal. I think we'll heal you. Let's get you on the rail in case we want to move you around. A little tempted to take the 2 to 3, but I actually want you down here to put the trench in. Okay. I not got enough odds there. I kind of want them to move out into the swamp, so I'm not going to push them there. I could cross the river, but we don't want to defend the river, so I think we're good there as well. We'll move you up into Warsaw. Sort of serve as a garrison to Warsaw, but also to serve as better to project power into those hexes. We can move you up. We're going to do combat reserve down here. Can't afford the replacement cavalry corps because that's 135. It's the only one you're missing. Okay. 1 to 4 is tempting. The only thing is it's on a detachment. There is an argument to be squashing you. This is a cavalry. I'll take the 1 to 4 versus the cavalry. Okay, I'm gonna use the cavalry. Get there, get the trench in. The right way around. No, I will take that. Take those swings. Again, if I get that unit destroyed, that means they'll have to bring a different tank in to do the same job. If it was in the garrison to Belgrade, I'd take the 1 to 2. But it's the garrison, so I don't want to move. We don't want to deplete combat capacity on the garrison. And then you're going to keep walking. Okay. We're going to have more forces deploy over here as soon as that war starts up. And yeah, I don't think I can reinforce the ones we damaged this turn. Could overstrength you. I'm not too worried about overstrengthening right now. Could upgrade the planes. Until we see fighter planes, I don't think we need to. And I got other concerns. We decided to save up for the core here, although taking the 2 on the trench warfare is tempting. Gun infantry, we got artillery going. Probably do want to teach the Russians how to dig better. So we'll take the 3rd one on trench. Oh, no. Up, not down. Okay, that's the Eastern Front. If this is how hard the British or the Germans are going to fight on the Western Front, I don't need more forces over here. We're actually shortening the front line, not making it bigger, so I need fewer forces. Probably want you to reinforce before you come across. Oops. I do, in fact, want you there. British don't actually have very much, so not going to do anything with the British. Might do stuff with the French MPP. Research. France. Got artillery. We should get infantry weapons going. Yeah. Okay, we're going to cycle the turn from here. We're going to see what the Central Powers do, especially with the fact that Constantinople, the fact that the Ottomans are coming in. And then I think that's where we'll put the part break in as soon as we get back to our turn. Loss of grain from Galicia leads to hunger in Austria-Hungary. Indian cavalry corps arrives in Egypt, just in time for the Ottomans. Russian forces mobilized in the Caucasus because the Ottomans are coming. Ligovin enters Ottoman service as the Yazov Sultan Selim. The Ottoman army mobilizes for war. Ottoman forces mobilized throughout the Middle East. Ottoman navy mobilizes for war. Ottoman Empire joins the Central Powers. Ottoman Empire is now at war with the Entente. Indian troops seize Basara. Indian forces suffer casualties seizing Basara. Typhus epidemic breaks out among the Ottoman forces in the Caucasus. Entente naval units north of Scotland blockade imports into Germany, as well as the ones in the North Sea. Russian trade can no longer pass through the Dardanelles, so the Russians are getting an MPP hit from that. Frederick Bobbs Roberts, 1st Earl of Roberts, dies while visiting forces in France. Battle of Cocos. HMS Sydney sinks the Emden. Sheikh Ul Islam proclaims a jihad against the Entente. Ottoman Finance Minister Mehmet Kavit Bey resigns in protest against the war. Okay, so the British MPP is starting to recover up to 176. France is 200, 96 more for Serbia, so we should be able to pick up the replacement corps and probably get some entrenchment. Russia's up to 300, although this is the last turn we're getting the Dardanelle modifier. Another 14 for the US of A. Germany employs secret agents in French Morocco. Oof, lost one of the Russian corps. Loss of grain from Galicia leads to hunger in Austria-Hungary. They celebrate the entrance of the Ottoman Empire into the war, which does give them a national morale buff, although the Ottomans immediately suffered the national morale malus in Basara. Italian nationalists claim Trento and Trieste as Italian territory. Foreign Minister reports diplomatic success Bulgaria towards the Central Powers, 5%. We got our blockades. The Khedive of Adas of Egypt promises to help drive the British from Egypt, which promptly results in him being deposed. Putting in Hassan Kamel as Sultan of Egypt. Paul Liebernick openly denounces the war in the Reichstag. First Corps was destroyed. Although not in a situation where we can't replace it, so we'll get a discount on replacing it. The importance of Gallipoli. Winston Churchill, First Lord of the Admiralty, argues that if we were to capture Gallipoli, then this would deliver a very damaging blow to Ottoman morale. Churchill also argues that success here could lead to some neutral powers in the region entering the war on our side. To succeed, it would be advisable to first capture Sed El Bahir, and then advance on Gallipoli. With Gallipoli in our hands, we could then send the navy into the Sea of Marmara to threaten the Ottoman shipping and even Constantinople itself. Prime Minister, now the Ottoman Empire has joined the Central Powers, our position in Egypt can come under threat. The best way to strengthen our position there is to send General Sir E.M. Hamilton to the command in Egypt. Providing General Hamilton with the logistical support necessary for him to set up his HQ unit at Alexandria will cost us 150 MPP, and 50 MPPs a turn for 3 turns. Would you like to appoint him as commander? And the answer is yes. He arrives in Egypt. And that's all we're going to do for this part. The war is heating up. We now got 3 more fronts out in the Middle East. The Serbians still hold. The Russians are at least going to benefit from the fact that good old Russian winter has arrived. Putting the gum in the works in most of the offensives in most locations. So the December lull has probably arrived, which will be beneficial to us, although that probably does not buy the Ottomans very much breathing space, because, well, it doesn't snow in the desert. If you're watching on YouTube, there will be another part up tomorrow. I suppose I could take one last look. Casualty-wise, we have pushed the Central Powers up to 50% of the casualties, so they are now taking just as many as we are. National morale is holding reasonable at 98, 96. Italy hasn't entered. Serbia's at 98. Russia's at 98. They got a boost from the Ottoman Empire entering the war, which has only brought them back up to 100%. Austria-Hungary, even with that boost, is at 94%. And the Ottomans, having only just entered the war, are already down to 90%. We may see where the weak link in the enemy may be. Watching on YouTube, we'll have a part up tomorrow. If you're watching on Twitch, feel free to hang around. It is time for the midstream tea break, where I go get a new cup of tea, so I have tea for the rest of the stream. So until the next part, I'm going to wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Until the next part, bye for now.